Yesterday afternoon, about 3 o'clock, I was driving up Casa Grande Road with the man next to me in the passenger seat who I have taken to calling my new best friend. Shir Haidari is his name, and he's the project manager for MLU, the Disaster Recovery Services Company based in Georgia that has an office here in Petaluma that is bringing Afghan ally families here to our town and paying their rent for 6 months, giving the men jobs, providing some essentials to help them get on their feet. And I've been working with Shir and my amazing wife, Meg, and Francis Fraser and Gail Reed and more people, we hope, to do all the other things that they need to make a home here and get acclimated to a new culture and a new language, a new people, and a new place. Shir was in a pretty relaxed mood. We'd just gone down. I'd showed him how to get into the storage locker that Meg and I rented earlier that day, and Meg had gone off with Shir's large van and some of the young ladies to the dollar store and Walmart by way of McDonald's to get microwave ovens and mops and dish racks and vacuum cleaners for the new families that were arriving. Well, one came yesterday and a couple more are coming later in the week. And so Shir had a moment after 48 hours or more of incredibly intense activity to just maybe kick back a little bit and anticipate going back to Abdullah's apartment and hanging out with the kids for a couple of hours. And so anyway, he was telling me some stories about his life, about the Afghan-American woman who found him selling scarves on Chicken Street in the market district in Kabul when he was a young boy in the early years of the American occupation, and who asked him why he wasn't in school. And he said, well, I come from a poor family and I need to help support them, and this is my job. And she said, well, I will pay for your schooling if you'll go to school. And so she did, $30 a month for the next number of years, and Shir went to school and studied English, and that was how he was able to get a job as a combat interpreter working with the special forces in Afghanistan. How he was able to come to the United States 6 years ago on a special immigrant visa with his very young wife, Tamana, and their son, and all of which put him in a position to be able to assist these other families, others who also aided our forces there, who now are in need of a place of refuge from the Taliban government that is persecuting them. So we got to the apartment of Shi and Zarha, who Shir picked up on the sidewalk in front of a mosque in Hayward yesterday afternoon at the end of a long trip that began in Kabul and went through Abu Dhabi, trip for which Shi told us that unable to obtain transit through the U.S. Embassy, he had finally resorted to calling a friend who lives here in the States and asking him to please front him the $10,000 that it would cost for them to get here. $10,000 that she promised that he would work to repay. And that he did so with confidence because he trusted himself and his own ability to get established here and make something of himself in the United States. And she had a kind of a sort of lost, bewildered look on his face, standing there in his new apartment that he just moved into 5 minutes ago, with its bare rooms. And as he talked about the beautiful life that he'd left behind in Kabul. And I said, yeah, it must be difficult to think about coming here with nothing, with your wife and your 2 sons, and to start over in a strange country, start over from scratch. In fact, $10,000 in debt before he even began. Today in the gospel we hear about 2 kingdoms. There's the kingdom of this world, the kingdom that Pontius Pilate knows about, the kingdom to which Pontius Pilate is afraid that Jesus poses a threat. This maybe self-styled king of the Jews, who might be coming here on the Passover feast, the great feast of the Jewish people's liberation from slavery and domination by the great empire of Egypt. A feast to which Jesus might be coming to rouse the rabble, to support him in his bid to become the heir of David, the messianic ruler who will restore independence to the Jews. There's that kind of kingdom. And Pontius Pilate asked Jesus if he is that kind of king. It's the kind of kingdom that he left behind in Kabul. A kingdom that seemed pretty good on the surface of it, yet which was underpinned by a lie. While there was, for a time, modernization and development and peace in the capital, peace in which many of these families who are coming here enjoyed, there was in the countryside drone strikes, night raids, targeted assassinations, corrupt local officials. One of the other families who came here told me that he had tried to get out on one of the flights through the embassy, but ended up coming on a private flight through Tehran because he was unwilling to pay a bribe. It's that kind of kingdom that seems to offer security and peace and well-being, and yet which can collapse so quickly because its foundations are not justice, are not peace. But there's another kind of kingdom at work in this gospel story today. A kingdom that does not come from this world. A kingdom that comes from somewhere beyond us, or maybe deep within us, or between us, when we truly believe in the power of love to transform relationships, even our relationships with those who seem strange to us, those who we are instinctively inclined to mistrust or to misunderstand. And it is this kingdom that Jesus has come to bring. A kingdom that rests not on lies, but on the truth. The truth of the God who is the Father, not of this people or that people, this religion or that religion, this race or that race, this ideology or that ideology. But the Father of all people summons us to grow beyond our apparent differences into that kingdom that is founded on justice and truth and loving kindness and compassion. The last thing that Sheer said to me yesterday before I drove off home to take a nap was, "You know, Daniel, God is walking beside us. God's walking beside me, walking beside you." Yesterday was Friday, and at the time that's appointed for Friday prayers, I said to God, I can't, or Allah, just names. God, I can't be praying on my rug right now because I'm driving to go pick up this family that just arrived from Afghanistan off the sidewalk in front of the mosque in Hayward. But today, this is my prayer to you, and I know you understand that. God is walking beside us. And as I drove home, I felt a great sense of peace, a quiet kind of joy that is the power of God's kingdom, the power of the truth that I had just heard spoken to me by this man, this warrior from the streets of Kabul. Truth to which we can all witness every day, in large ways and small. Because it's a kingdom that is still coming. A kingdom that will never end. Because its authority is given to us as a gift to be shared. Not something to be fearfully defended, held on to, prosecuted at the expense of others. No one can take it from us. It belongs to no one but us. And to everyone else